Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham, back with another video just for you guys. Let's get into the latest rumors on today's show, starting with Larry Warford, who, as you guys know, was released by the Saints this past Friday. There was early chatter, the Bears need to go get him, need a right guard. That was the first thing I thought, but now the latest report is that apparently they are out on Warford, which may not be super surprising, but it is a bit surprising. It tells me that maybe his price tag is just a little bit too high. He's obviously been to 3 straight Pro Bowls for the New Orleans Saints. They drafted Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan, so they were able to release the interior offensive lineman. But I obviously think he would be a major asset on this Bears offensive line because Rashad Coward is not a starting caliber guard in this league after the Bears lost Kyle Long to retirement this offseason. The Bears need help up front. It's as simple as that, and getting a 3-time Pro Bowler in here would certainly help Chicago quite a bit. This is the biggest hole on this team right now, is the offensive line play. And if you can't block, you can't do anything as an offense, as we saw last year with the struggling quarterback play and the inability to consistently run the football. Should the Bears sign Larry Warford, type Y for yes, type N for no? Obviously, money matters, but if you're not breaking the bank, I would certainly circle back to this if I was Chicago and see if this is at least an option, because Larry Warford would be probably the best offensive lineman on this entire team, if nothing else, your best interior offensive lineman, and that is something that the Bears need very badly, especially considering this is a team built to run the football and play defense. Well, you need good offensive line play to run the football, so Larry Warford would certainly help. If you can't get him, you got to get somebody. I mentioned Ron Leary on my top free agents targets video, my updated one from over the weekend. I encourage you guys to check that out. Josh Klein is available, a guy who has started 77 games in this league. Obviously, Warford is the best of the bunch, but you've got to get somebody at right guard. Like, bringing in Juan Castillo as your new offensive line coach is not going to solve everything. Like, you need talent up front. Hopefully the current offensive lineman will play better this year, but I still think you've got to address the right guard position at the very least. Have you guys subscribed to the channel yet? If you haven't, go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. Mitchell Renz from our Raiders channel, he came up to me and was like, dude, I bet you can't get 150 new subs on the Bears channel on today's video. I was like, okay. I trust my audience. So here's the deal. If we get 150 new subs, I can rub it in Mitch's face. Help me out, and I'll help you guys out by doing a Q&A later on in the week. So you can ask me your questions using hashtag Bears. All we need, 150 subs on today's video. We got videos going up almost every single day. So I encourage you to subscribe. Guess what? It is free. So go ahead and hit that big red button. All right, let's talk about Mitchell Trubisky. 670 The Score did a segment after the Bears schedule came out and basically said the start of the schedule helps Trubisky's cause to be the starting quarterback in 2020. And probably a lot of you guys are saying, why does the schedule matter? Well, the Bears open with 7 non-playoff teams. So if Chicago wants to give Mitch Trubisky kind of one last shot and maybe a slightly easier, start to a season to take the job and prove he can be the franchise quarterback, maybe the schedule has given him that opportunity. I'll circle back to my thoughts on that in a second. But first, here's the quote from Joe Ostrowski on 670 The Score saying, "The National Football League made a path for Trubisky to be the week 1 starter. I don't know that it's going to happen, but now we have a case and we can discuss this for months and months. Just saying, it would be really shocking if would it be really shocking if the Bears announce our week 1 starter is Mitchell Trubisky?" Now, before I get into my thoughts, here's kind of what we're talking about here. Opening at Detroit, a team Trubisky's had a lot of success with. The Giants, terrible team last year. Falcons, not a playoff team. And then the Colts at home, who also weren't a playoff team in 2020. Then obviously the Bucs, they weren't a playoff team last year. They're going to be better this year, but still a team that went 7-9 last year. You get them at home on a Thursday night matchup. Home teams on Thursday Night Football are typically very, very successful. Then Chicago goes to Carolina. They're rebuilding. Rams kind of had a mess of a season last year. Then obviously the Saints, and then the back half of the schedule kicks into gear a little bit. But the first half of the schedule is manageable for the Bears, and especially week 1 against Detroit, a team that probably has been the easiest opponent for Trubisky in his career. He's played in 5 games against them. He's 3-0 as a starter, 11 touchdowns, 4 picks, passer rating of over 106. So he's been very good. Now, here's my problem with this philosophy. about if you want to make Mitch Trubisky the starter based on the schedule. You can't operate that way. The way you operate is you let Nick Foles and you let Mitchell Trubisky battle as the starting quarterback, and whoever wins the job wins the job. You can't say, well, Foles is a little better, but the schedule kind of benefits Trubisky and we drafted him in the top 5, so let's make him the starter. That's stupid. So who do you guys think will start? Type F for Foles, type T for Trubisky. I still think it's going to be Foles. You can't operate under, based on a schedule or something else. I'm going to make this the pinned comment. So type F for Foles, type T for Trubisky. Just scroll on down if you get hit with an ad break and answer this question. All right, the second half of the Bears' schedule certainly kicks into gear. Chicago goes to Tennessee in Week 9 before hosting the Vikings in Week 10. Remember, Saints in Week 8, so that's 3 straight playoff games in 3 straight weeks. Then the bye week hits. Then you go to Green Bay, so 4 straight playoff games, or opponents, I should say, from last year after starting with 7 non-playoff teams. Weeks 13 through 17, here's the stretch run. Detroit at home, the Texans at home, at Minnesota, at Jacksonville, and then against Green Bay. So the second half of the schedule is certainly a lot more difficult. So in general, regardless if it's Mitch Trubisky, if it's Nick Foles, you've got to start fast. You need to win at least 4 of your first 7, probably 5, to give yourself a really good shot to go above 500 and make the playoffs in 2020. I have no problem if Trubisky is the starter. I have no problem if he earns the job. I just don't like this idea of, well, the schedule's soft, let's let Mitch be the guy early on. That's stupid. Whoever wins the job should be the quarterback. Period. End of story. I think it'll be Nick Foles, but we'll see if it's Mitchell Trubisky. All right, guys, I hope you are all staying safe out there. These are obviously unprecedented times. If you want to stay safe in style, you should order this 3-pack of Bears face mask for just $25. chatsports.com/bearsmask. It's chatsports.com/bearsmask. You go to that link, you can get this 3-pack of face coverings. Got to go to the store. You got to do things for everyday life, so why not protect yourself in style by representing your team? I'll put that link in the comments and in the description. One more time, it is chatsports.com/bearsmask. All right, Bleacher Report has released its breakout candidates for 2020 for the Bears. They've got David Montgomery. This isn't a huge surprise. He'd probably be my number 1 breakout guy as well. Solid rookie year last year. Obviously, the offensive line play did not help, but I thought he was pretty good. I loved him coming out of Iowa State. He led the college football in broken tackles his last 2 years there. I think he's going to have a big season, and his ability to run the football and be involved in the offense, I think, will dictate a lot of the Bears' success this year. Like, if he runs for 1,100 yards and catches for 300 or 400 more, this Bears team is going to be very successful because he is a good player, and you need to feature your best players on offense. 3.7 yards per carry isn't great, but remember, the offensive line play was not good last year. I liked what I saw from Montgomery. I thought he had a good rookie season. I think he's poised for a bigger season in 2020. Obviously, Tariq Cohen's still in the mix as well. Bears signed Artavis Brown, a UDFA, and another guy also. But I think Montgomery is going to have a heavy workload in 2020. I think Cohen, you'll see him utilized mostly as a receiver this year. I think Montgomery is poised for a big season. I definitely think he's going to rush for over 1,000 yards. But what do you guys think? Will David Montgomery rush for 1,000+ yards this season? Type O for over 1,000. Type U for under 1,000. If you're typing your U, that either means he's getting hurt or the Bears are missing the playoffs. I don't think Montgomery rushing for 800 yards again is going to result in a playoff team. So I'm typing my O for over. I'm optimistic. I think he will hit the 1,000-yard barrier this season. Let's talk about Allen Robinson. Adam Rank of NFL.com. He talked about how Allen Robinson is one of the easiest guys to root for in the NFL. Called him a top 10 receiver at worst. Even could be pushed for top 5. We'll get more into that on a second. But I just continue to wonder if an Allen Robinson extension could be in the works. He's in the last year of his deal. You don't want to let number 1 receivers go. He's still young. I don't know how much he's going to cost on an extension. It might push $20 million per year. That's the cost of doing business. You don't want Anthony Miller being your number 1. Here's Adam Rank speaking highly highly of Robinson, saying, I would say Robinson is a top 10 receiver at worst, and really I would make a case that he's in the top 5. I mean, he ranked 7th in receptions, 14th in receiving yards last season, while catching passes from Mitchell Trubisky and Chase Daniel. Look, that's a legitimate point. I don't think he's top 5, but I think it's a fair argument to think he's top 10. He's certainly a number 1 receiver in the NFL. So what do you guys think? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Is he a top 10 receiver in the NFL? He's fringe top 10. He's very close, so I certainly would expect to see a lot of ones in the comments section. Here are the top 5 highest paid. Julio Jones at $22 million per year. Amari Cooper just got the bag this offseason. Michael Thomas did recently as well. Tyreek Hill, then Odell Beckham there. I definitely think he's better than Odell Beckham. I think he's right there with like an Amari Cooper, who's a fringe top 10 guy in this league. Obviously DeAndre Hopkins hasn't gotten his new deal yet. He's probably my best receiver in the NFL, but Allen Robinson is a very, very good receiver and had a monster season last year with bad offensive line play and below average quarterback play. 1,200 yards almost, 7 touchdowns, almost 100 grabs. If Nick Foles or Trubisky, whoever it is, plays marginally better this year, he's going to have another monster season, and he's going to help this offense tremendously, and he's only 26. Like, this is a young player in the NFL who perhaps has not hit his ceiling yet. Like, he's probably close to his ceiling, but I think Allen Robinson has 5, 6, 7, 8 good years left. You don't want to let go of a number 1 receiver. I certainly hope the Bears are able to keep him long-term in Chicago.